Brubacher, I can see a numbers come in.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we got you.
Okay.
We can hear you. All right, we're going to start the meeting now.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. The first application we have today is file number A04/2021, and it's at 6233 Wellington Road 7 in the Township of Nichol. Request for relief is being requested to permit an accessory apartment in a detached building with an increased size of 134 meters or 1,438 square feet instead of the required 100 square meters or 1,076 square feet. The effect of the variance is to permit the construction of an accessory apartment outside the main dwelling for year-round accommodation. Chantel, can you confirm that the signage has been posted at the property?
Yes, it was done in accordance with the Planning Act. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to ask the applicant or the applicant's agent to give a brief overview of this request, please.
The request is for a dwelling for our son until his family gets too big. Then we will switch and it'll be our retirement home. The son is taking over the farm, and with the way farming circumstances are, we both have to work out to make things work. So we thought this would be a cheaper route than trying to buy a rural property.
Okay, thank you. And just for the record, could you just state your name, please?
Lorne Brubacher, the owner.
Thank you. Okay, at this time I would like to ask if any members of the committee have any questions for the applicant. Okay, I don't see any questions. Do any members of the committee have any questions for town staff? Okay, I'm seeing no questions. Are there any other parties present who would like to speak in opposition or in favor of the request for relief? Chantal, have we received any letters or emails in support or opposition to this request?
No, so nothing came in from any of the public circulation. The comments that we received, grca and the County of Wellington were included in your package. Otherwise, we haven't received anything else.
Okay, thank you for confirming. At this time, we'll have a roundtable discussion with the committee staff to discuss the merits of this request. Janice, would you like to start?
Sure. I would be in support of the application. It appears to be, quite similar to some of the other ones that we have approved already. It does allow for additional housing for the son, and then eventually retirement residence for the farmer. And I would also to allow for the continuation of farming, which I feel is important, and I would definitely support it with the conditions as suggested by staff.
Okay, thank you, Janice. Kathy?
We'll support it. I agree with everything that Janice has said.
And Aaron?
Yeah, I echo the comments made. This seems minor in nature. I support it.
Okay, and Fernando?
Yeah, I'm also in support of this application. I see that here respecting many aspects of the lot, including the wood lot, and I'm totally support this.
Okay, thank you very much. And yeah, I'm in agreement as well and supportive of this request. So I'll ask Chantal to read the decision in support of this request for minor variance, please. And could you also include those 3 conditions as well?
Yep, I have those already in the decision. That
Okay.
that in the matter of application for minor variance for relief from the Township of Center Wellington zoning bylaw 2009-045 as amended, section 4.1, table 4A, permission be granted to permit an accessory apartment in a detached building with an increased size of 134 square meters, 1,435 square feet. The effect of the variance is to permit the construction of an accessory apartment outside of the main dwelling for year-round accommodation on lands described as 6233 Wellington Road 7, Concession 3, Part Lot 1 and 2, Nichol, Township of Center Wellington, subject to the following conditions. 1, the detached accessory apartment shall be limited to 134 meters squared in size or up to 45% of the total floor area of the existing dwelling, whichever is greater. Number 2, the detached accessory apartment shall be located within the main building cluster as shown on the location plan submitted with the application. And number 3, the detached accessory apartment shall be accessed from the existing driveway and no new road entrance shall be permitted.
Okay, thank you, Chantal. Could I get somebody to move that, please?
I can move that.
Okay, Aaron, thank you. Could I get somebody to second?
I can second.
Okay, Fernando, thank you. And that motion is carried with a show of hands, sorry. Okay, thank you. So now the motion is carried. Okay, thank you, Mr. Brubacher. There is a 20-day appeal period for this decision, and following that time period, you can proceed with your project. Thank you very much.
Okay, I just got one question. When Chantal was reading the conditions off there on the square footage, was she saying that the square footage that we applied for is what they're going for? Or what was that square footage on the condition?
The square footage that was mentioned in the decision would have come straight from your application. So that was the 1,438 square feet.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
That's it. Didn't catch that quite right, what the square footage was. But no, that's good.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the next application here. We have file number A02/2021. The property is located at 149 Sideroad 18 in Fergus. And relief is being requested to permit a maximum front yard setback from BD line north of 137 meters or 450 feet, as opposed to the maximum front yard setback of 30 meters, 98.4 feet. And further relief is being requested to allow the existing accessory building, the shed, to remain on the lands until the main dwelling construction has commenced. The effect of the variance is to facilitate the creation of a new lot, permit the construction of a new dwelling, and recognize the existing accessory shed building, all of which are required to satisfy condition of approval from the County of Wellington Land Division Committee application B66/20. Chantal, can you confirm that signage has been posted at the property?
Yes, it was done in accordance with the Planning Act. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to request either the applicant or the applicant's agent to speak on behalf of this application.
Hi, this is Jeff Buseman. I'm with Van Harten Surveying. I'm the agent for Kevin Hutten. Kevin Hutten is on the line as well. This minor variance is required as a result of a severance application that's been approved. A lot of work has been done to design this new lot in terms of where the house is going to go and the property configuration and servicing and so forth. Due to the nature of the lot, it's most practical to put the house in further in the back, away from wetland features and in an open area. I feel like planning staff's planning report has been well written and presents the application well, and the positiveness of it, and also the comment of no objections. I'm ready to answer any questions. Just to recap, the request is for having a house further back than allowed, which is kind of a unique situation on this road, that normally the houses are supposed to be only a certain distance back. In this case, we're asking for it to be further back. And the second request is that there is an existing shed, and right as a vacant lot, that shed would be not in conformance with zoning. But since the plan is to build a brand new house fairly quickly, that nonconformity will disappear, but we do need to tack it onto this minor variance to make it go through. So having said that, if there are any questions or comments, please fire away.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Biesman. Does anybody from the committee have any questions for the agent at this time? Yes, go ahead, Aaron.
Comparing the GRCA map to the survey map, looks like there's a difference in where the wetland boundary is. And that the new driveway for the dwelling would need to go through a portion of the wetland, but it doesn't seem to be represented on the surveyor's map. So I'm just wondering if that driveway will impact wetland.
So I don't, good question. I don't know if you have, we had a severance sketch, but also we presented a site plan. I'm just going to hold this up. It's a big piece of paper, lots of color. If that's the one you're referring to, I'll show that again. If that's the one you're referring to, that driveway exists already. And because it exists already, the GRCA is typically allows an existing driveway to continue. So it's not a proposed driveway. In addition to which on that site plan, like the wetland limit had been flagged, and an EIS, environmental impact study work, has been done to support the proposed configuration, and GRCA has been supportive all the way along, including their comments for this application.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from the committee? Yes, Janice?
Yeah, just to confirm that the existing shed, will be removed once the house on the retained parcel is built?
No, that's going to stay. The whole idea is that it's going to stay. The request is that we're allowed to keep it to stay for a little while.
Right. Okay. I just wanted clarification as to whether or not it was in fact going to stay after the house was built as well. Okay. That's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, the owner hates to take down a good shed.
Yeah. Okay.
Are there any other questions from the committee?
Yeah, I'm just curious about this lot. What would be the intention of in terms of building size? Is there any plans for like coming up for this lot? Like in terms of, is this going to be like a low density or medium density building?
This is going to be a regular residential lot. If that's your question, a single family dwelling. The site plan shows the footprint. Well, so does the severance sketch. They show the footprint of the proposed dwelling. That's what the property is zoned for, and that's what it's going to be. Does that answer your question?
Yep. Yes, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Biesman. Does anybody from the committee have any questions for town staff? Okay, I'm seeing none. Are there any parties that are present who wish to speak in opposition or for the application? Would they like to have a say right now? Mr. and Mrs. Hutten, would you have anything to add to this?
No, I have nothing else to add. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to have a roundtable. Oh,
Yeah, there
sorry.
were no registered delegations that wish to speak on it, so.
Okay, thank you, Chantal.
Okay.
We'll move to a roundtable discussion with committee staff to discuss the merits of this request. Fernando, we'll start with you, please.
I will be in favor of this application. It seems like he did everything required to proceed, and also respecting the woodland and the woodland. So respecting the current aspect of the lot is important, and I'll be in total support of this.
Okay, thank you. Aaron, can I go next, please?
Yeah, I'll be in support. Cross section of the road here is fairly rural in nature, so I don't see the further setback having any negative impacts.
Okay, thank you. Kathy?
I will support. I think it's fairly well treed. It's not too visible from BD line or side road. I don't know if it's 18 or 19, but it's pretty protected in that little area. And it looks like that's the only high piece of ground that the house could go on because of all the wetlands. So I'm in support.
Okay, thank you. And Janice?
Yes, I would agree with the other comments. It is to satisfy Committee of Adjustment, Land Division Committee application, and so it definitely has been considered there for the severance. Yeah, I'm fully support. It is minor in nature. Yeah, really. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Janice. And I would agree as well. I think given the proposed or the existing site conditions and the constraints on site, that the proposed placement of the house makes sense with respect to those features, and that it would be minor in nature. So yeah, we will move forward. Chantal, could you read the decision in support of this request, please?
Sure. That in the matter of application for minor variance for relief from the Township of Center Wellington zoning bylaw 2009-045 as amended, section 15.70.1 and section 4.2 table 4B item E, permission be granted to permit a maximum front yard setback from BD line north of 137 meters, 450 feet in lieu of the required maximum front yard setback of 30 meters, 98.4 feet. This is for the retained parcel. And further, to permit the existing accessory building shed to remain on the lands until the main dwelling construction has commenced. That's for the severed parcel. The effect of the variance is to facilitate the creation of a new lot, permit the construction of a new dwelling, and recognize the existing accessory building shed, all of which are required to satisfy conditions of approval of the County of Wellington Land Division application B66/20 on lands described as 149 Side Road 18, Plan 87, Part Lots 9 to 11, Register Plan 61R 3798, Part 1, Fergus, Township of Center Wellington.
Thank you, Chantal. Could I get somebody to move that, please?
I can move it.
Janice, thank you. And could I get somebody to second that?
I can second that.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. And a show of hands to approve the motion. All in favor? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Buseman and Mr. and Mrs. Hutten. There is a 20-day appeal period. And after that time, you can proceed with your application and project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the next. We have file number A05/2021 at 325 Garafraxa Street West in Fergus. Relief is being requested to permit an accessory building, a garage, with an increased maximum height of 7 meters or 23 feet, as opposed to the maximum permitted height of 4.6 meters, 15.1 feet. The effect of the variance is to permit the construction of a new accessory building, garage, with the existing garage being demolished. Chantal, can you confirm that signage has been posted at the property?
Yes, the sign was posted in accordance with the Planning Act.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask the agent or the applicant to speak on behalf of this request.
I'll let Scott give the particulars. He's our contractor, so I'll let him take it from here.
Do you want to know in regards of why? Is that the question?
Yeah, could you just provide a little bit of background of the request and the rationale?
Yeah, basically the building is already existing to the height that we're requesting to go back to. So we want to kind of replace what's already there. The problem is with the existing building, it was very poor construction. There's many.
Sorry, Mr. Grant, could you just move a little bit closer to your microphone?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just very faint. It's just your microphone. I don't know.
All right, let me get it up. Can you hear that?
There we go. Great. Okay, thank you.
Okay, sorry. Let's start again. What we want to do is replace the existing building. So we've already applied for a demolition permit and was granted that. The existing building is already 7 meters high. So it was already higher than what the town stated was acceptable. That building has been there, we figure, basically 20 years. It's just the existing building is very poor construction. There's many repairs needing to be done to it. And because of the amount of repairs that need to be done, it was deemed more feasible to tear down and rebuild back the structure so that it's actually done properly. And plus it was an oddball size. It's a garage that you can't fit a vehicle in, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a garage. So the new building, when you look at your information, you can see it's just a little bit deeper, therefore that you can pull a full-size vehicle in and vehicles will fit. But what we're basically looking to do is just put back what's already existing.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'd like to ask anybody from the committee at this time if they have any questions for Mr. Grant.
I have a question. I know this the main house is registered as a heritage building, I believe. Will the new garage / office space will respect the aesthetics of the neighborhood?
Do you want to take that one, Scott?
Sure. Definitely,
Yeah, so,
yes.
So it's a deemed provincial heritage property, not municipally. And yes, Scott and I, we have a passion for certainly older buildings. You guys don't know me on the committee, but that's a passion of mine particularly. So we are looking at some options to do it in a way that would complement the current building, which is not being torn down, which is the old, what's called Brookwood Estate. Including Scott has actually secured some sills, for example, on the front facing, which will be all stone. He's procured those from Puslinch, which are kind of 1860s vintage stone, like the arched stone that would go over top of a window, for example. We're going to do that over top of all 3 bays of the garage. So is that essential? No. Are we trying to do it to character? Not necessarily, but we passionately respect the history of the property and are trying to actually improve the garage. So the one that's there is, it's kind of cute. It actually mimics the Gothic appeal of the property itself. It's meant to be almost like a little cute add-on. We're gonna one-up that and do the front face in stone. So it should be very similar to the property that's there. The garage is only 20 years old or less, but we're trying to be respectful of what's there and make sure that what we do is certainly an improvement on what's there. We're not going to build the whole thing in stone. It would cost me about an extra $150,000 to do that. My friend, Mr. Grant, tells me that. But what you're going to see from the road is going to be quite relevant to what the property is in general.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions at this time? Okay, we'll move on. Does anybody from the committee have questions for township or county staff? Okay, I'm seeing none. We'll move on. Are there any other parties present on the line here who wish to speak for or against the request? And Chantal, can you confirm if we've received any written responses opposed or for this request?
No, there were no additional correspondence that was sent in, and no one notified me to wish to speak to the application today.
Okay, thank you for confirming. We'll move to have a roundtable discussion amongst the committee members to discuss the merits of this request. So we'll start with you, Aaron.
No further concerns. Seems minor in nature, and the precedent has been set. It's been there for a while, so I'll be in support.
Thank you. Fernando?
Yeah, I'm in total support of this application.
Okay, and Janice?
Yes, I would support it. It's existing basically, and really it's just replacing what is already existing, and the height is already there, with no concerns from neighbors or anyone. So I think I'm definitely in support of it.
Okay, thank you. I would agree as well. Given the existing size of the garage compared to what's being proposed, it's going to be the same. So I think this is minor in nature, so I'm in support of this as well. Chantal, could you read the decision in support, please?
Sure, that in the matter of application for minor variance for relief from the Township of Center Wellington zoning bylaw 2009-045 as amended, section 4.3 table 4B item D, permission be granted to allow an accessory building with an increased maximum height of 7 meters, 23 feet in lieu of the permitted maximum height of 4.6 meters, 15.1 feet. The effect of the variance is to permit the construction of a new accessory building garage, with the existing garage being demolished on lands described as 325 Garafraxa Street West, Plan 117, Part Lots 8, 9, Registered Plan 61R 9042, Part 1, Fergus, Township of Center Wellington.
Okay, could I get somebody to move that, please?
Sure, I can move it, Brad.
Thank you, Janice. And could I get somebody to second?
I can second.
Thanks, Fernando. And by show of hands, all in favor? Okay, and that is moved and that's carried forward. You have a 20-day appeal period before you can proceed with your project, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I just wanted to confirm that the email that I sent out after the agenda went out with an additional letter of support from Mr. McSween was received by the committee.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, the next application is file number A06/2021, and this is at 10 Middleton Avenue in Fergus. And relief is being requested to permit an accessory building shed in a required exterior side yard with a setback of 1.26 meters or 4.1 feet, as opposed to the required exterior side yard setback of 4.2 meters, 13.7 feet. The effect of the variance is to recognize an existing shed in the required exterior side yard. Chantal, can you confirm that signage was posted at the property?
Yes, the sign was posted in accordance with the Planning Act.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to request the applicant or the applicant's agent to come forward now just to explain this request. You're on mute there.
Okay, sorry, this is the first time doing this. Can you see and hear me now?
Yep, you're good. Thanks.
Great, I apologize. This is all new technology for me. Can I go ahead and read out what I've written out?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. We now understand that the present location of our shed is not in compliance with this section of the bylaws. After reading and complying with all of the bylaws for building our fence on a corner lot, we incorrectly assumed that we could build our shed behind our legal fence. When we searched the township bylaws for a shed, we easily found the information regarding the size limitations. However, we were not aware that we could not build on the exterior side of our corner lot. That information was on page 58 and 104. There are 218 pages of bylaws. This was not an intentional oversight on our part at all. We had good intentions when deciding to locate our shed for the following reasons. Before building this shed, we did speak with our immediate neighbors. They all supported our decision for this shed location. We purposely did not build it at the rear of our property because we agreed that it would interfere more with our neighbors' sightlines from their front porch and or windows. Its present location does not in any way interfere with the corner or neighbors' triangle sightlines. There's less space at the rear of our townhouse because of the easement along the rear of the property. Our shed is built with high quality materials and is within the legal size and height limitations. The shed is safe and is built to and above building codes. It would not be possible to disassemble it. Moving it would involve the cost of removing a portion of the fence, hiring a company with a large backhoe, and then replacing the damaged sod and fence. We understand that the intent of the bylaw or the existing bylaw is to ensure that people do not build sheds in an area that may impede with the corner lot traffic sightlines or obstruct a neighbor's sightlines. The present location of our shed does not interfere with either one of these conditions. Having to move it to the rear of our home, as suggested by the planning staff, places it in a less desirable location that would have more negative impacts for everyone. We hope you consider our application and allow for this minor variance. I would also like to address the single letter submitted that objects to our application for the minor variance. The committee should be aware that many of the objections cited in this letter are not accurate and not based on facts. The letter states that the dimensions of our shed are too large. This is incorrect. Our shed is within legal size and height limits. The letter states that our existing fence is a high fence. This also is incorrect. The total height of our legal fence is 4 feet 11 inches, actually lower than the allowable total height of 6 foot 6 3/4 inches. We purposely built it lower so that it would not in any way obstruct our neighbors' views. Many of the objections in this letter are based on opinion and not actual facts. They state that our shed would somehow have a negative impact on the value and saleability of homes. We believe that a $5,000 custom-built shed that is well-built and matches the color of the existing home would add value and not affect the value or saleability of anyone's home. We hope that your committee values the opinions of our immediate neighbors that support our variance and not base your decision on those of the single neighbor's objections, many of which are based on inaccurate opinions and facts. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much as well. I'd like to ask the committee now if anybody has any questions for the applicant.
I do have a question. You mentioned that moving the shed to the backyard will bring negative impacts. Can you explain it a little bit more?
Yeah, before we decided where to move it, I'm very close with the neighbor who's directly behind me. And if I moved it to the rear, which is acceptable by the bylaws, it would be right beside his front porch and right beside his windows that are facing the back of my property. And it would obscure both of his views from that position. Plus, there's very little room at the back of the townhouse. I have a 4-foot easement there. And if ever I wanted to put a a small, moderate deck at the back, there would not be any room at all for the shed.
Are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none at this time. Do any members of the committee have questions for township or county staff?
Yes, Brad, I have a question for staff. When I went out to have a look at the property, I did notice that further down Middleton Ave, then on the right-hand side, there is a sort of a similar situation. And I was just wondering whether that was something that staff can comment on at all, whether or not it's in compliance, because it appeared, and I don't, it appeared to me to be, it's also on a corner, and the shed was definitely in the side yard, or maybe it's not in the side yard, but it appears to be in the side yard.
Yes, Janice, I can answer that. We are aware of that, and we are undertaking the appropriate actions to address that. It is in an exterior side yard. It does not comply.
Oh, okay. Okay. And do you know what the size of that particular shed is? Is it also a 10 by 10 or?
Yeah, thereabouts, Janice. Yeah. It's not of a size that would require a building permit. Okay. So our bylaw enforcement officer is looking after that one as opposed to a building official.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Janice. Thanks, Randy. Are there any other questions for township or county staff? Okay, we'll move on to have a roundtable discussion with the committee's members. Fernando, would you like to start, please?
Yeah, I will say that the applicant mentioned the length of the zoning bylaw, and I think that's not an excuse to go ahead and build the shed in this location. I think when we do these kind of structures or these kind of things, you still have to proceed with the due diligence. And I think in this case, he didn't proceed with that and obey many of the zoning bylaws. And I think it's also obstructing the view on that corner as well. And also it's setting a precedent for other neighbors to do the same. Specifically at 29, I can see on Google Street View, 29 Middleton Avenue. It's basically the same situation. So I don't want this application to move forward and get a precedent for the same sort of issues. So no, I won't approve this application.
Okay, thanks, Fernando. Before we move on here, I'd just like to go back a little bit, just for the record and for the meeting minutes. Yeah, we did receive 6 letters of support that were contained within the package, and 1 letter in opposition. And as Chantal noted at the start, we did receive an email in support of this as well. So I just want to have that noted. I don't believe there's anyone else here who would like to speak for or against this request.
Correct. There was no registered delegations for this meeting, and the letters that came in will be noted in the minutes of the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Kathy, would you like to have a turn, please?
Yes, I feel very badly for the owners of the property that they were not able to find the bylaws or zoning bylaws that pertained. I think the shed is really nice and the fence is lovely, but it really does obstruct the front yard of the house. It changes the look of the neighborhood altogether. And I also have concerns with setting a precedent for others in the neighborhood that might not take such good care when they build something. And so even though I really like the shed, I'm not able to support this application.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. And Janice?
Yes, I'm very similar to what Kathy has said. It's not a, yeah. I think the thing is that it does sort of stick out. That it is different from the neighborhood. And it is a very nice looking shed, and I have to agree. And I know definitely, the neighbors don't seem to oppose to it, but I think, down the road, it is setting an example that, oh, this is what we can do. Especially, when there is another one down the street that is also going to be looked at and the bylaw enforcement officer is going to be addressing. So, yeah, I am afraid I cannot support it either, to leave the shed there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Janice. Now I have the same comments as most of the other staff, taking into consideration that this is a newer plan of subdivision, that you have to consider sort of the streetscape and what this, shed kind of fits in, and whether or not that's determined or deemed to be minor or not. And in this case, I do not think it's minor, so I'm also not in support of this request. Chantel, could you read the decision in opposition to this request, please?
Yeah, just one sec. That in the matter of application for minor variance for relief from the Township of Center Wellington zoning bylaw 2009-045 as amended, section 4.2, table 4B, item B, permission be refused to permit an accessory building in a required exterior side yard with a reduced setback of 1.26 meters, 4.1 feet on lands described as 10 Middleton Avenue, Plan 61M 213, Block 71, Register Plan 61R 21186, Parts 1 to 3, Fergus, Township of Center Wellington.
Okay, thank you, Chantel. Could I have somebody to move that motion, please?
I can move it, Brad.
Janice, and could I get somebody to second?
Okay,
And Fernando, thank you. And show of hands to approve the motion. All in favor? There is a 20-day appeal period before this decision becomes finalized. So if you wish to proceed, you can contact township staff and work through that process. And thank you for your time today.
I just ask a couple questions, please.
Sure.
Okay. Is it possible to extend the time that I have to move the shed? I mean, with everything that's going on, it's difficult to find contractors that are willing to do that type of job right now. And it's gonna, by the time the snow melts and thaws everything out and I have to pour a new foundation pad to move it onto, it's gonna take me quite a bit of time to do that.
Yeah, I think you can maybe follow up with Randy in that regard offline from this meeting.
And I'd also just like to mention one other thing. I appreciate the time you all put into this. I just don't think that it's right that some of you based your decision on future applications or possible future applications to this variance. I really feel you need to just look at each individual case individually based on the situation that is being looked at. Everyone will have a different set of reasons, and to base your decision based on what might happen in the future, I don't think is the right way to go about this. And you really need to think about when you make that decision, don't worry about what everyone else is going to do. Just think about the specifics to my variance and base your decision strictly on those facts. And I am disappointed because this is going to cost me thousands of dollars, and we realize it's our fault, but it's hard not to be disappointed over this.
Of course. Thank you for your comment. Okay. We'll move on with the meeting. Do we have any other business to discuss at this time?
Sorry, I was just gonna wait till the applicants left the meeting.
Okay. And then Aaron, if you'd like to rejoin.
It's nothing. I just wanted to point out the school, well, the province, I guess, switched March break. So I had accounted for that for the meeting in March. So we'll still go ahead with the March 25th meeting because I have applications for that. And so we'll have a meeting on that day. I just want to make sure, I'm assuming there's no travel plans in the future for anyone, but so the next meeting would be the March 15th in our schedule, and that happens to fall on the week that the province has moved the March break to. So just want to confirm that quorum, that we can meet quorum on the 15th, or if people are heading south.
Not me. Nope.
Sorry, Chantal, what did you say the date of the next Committee of Adjustment meeting was?
So the next one in March is the 25th, which was our regular meeting. But the one in April would be is scheduled for the 15th, and that happens to be the rescheduled March break from the province.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I get you. Sorry.
Okay.
You lost me there for a second when you were talking about the 22nd and then the 25th. So okay. or the 15th and then the 22nd. So it's okay. It's just me.
Everyone's okay. Brad said he's okay. Janice is okay. Kathy, you'll be
Okay.
Okay. Aaron.
Sorry, I'm just catching the tail end. I think I might have joined a little later than.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was just stating that the April 15th is our regular scheduled meeting in April, but that happens to be the rescheduled March break the province has put forward. Whether or not that happens, I'm not sure, but I just wanted to make sure we could still have quorum on that day because we've had some inquiries about applications. So.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. That's all the news I had. Fernando, you're okay?
Yeah, okay with that date.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else to discuss, we'll move to adjourn the meeting. Can I get somebody to move that, please?
Sure, Brad, I'll move.
Okay, thank you. And somebody a second?
You can check on that.
Okay, and a show of hands to approve the motion. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.